Buongiorno, everyone. Welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV podcast. As you can see, we are not at Anarchy Brewery tonight, unfortunately, due to transport issues and other commitments. We can't be there live together, unfortunately, me and Kate. But we're doing it
2020.
Lockdown style. Lockdown settings. Jump on StreamYard for you.
You watch along, on a dead legal stream.
But we'll be back, as always, at the usual spot next Tuesday at 7 p.m. at Anarchy Brewery, live and direct. Obviously, we couldn't do it last night at the usual time because of the old snooze fest England game that was on. I wish we had off, to be fair, mate. I wish we had just cracked on.
I really enjoyed it.
Not watched the game and just did a podcast.
Yeah.
But
you live, you learn.
We're going to have loads to talk about. We've got loads of transfer stuff. Obviously, today's talk has been dominated by a certain Alex Isak in Chelsea in a huge potential transfer fee. Yankuba Minteh's future is still up in the air. We've had an update on him today, rejecting a French team, but Newcastle still want to sell him, apparently. There's also talks of Wilson, Miggy going. So there is loads to get to, as well as briefly touching on that England game last night, depending if we've still got time. We'll do that later on if we've got time to kill, because don't we need to talk about that too much, do we?
No, yeah, quicker. We can skim over that the better. But to be fair, there's a fair bit to talk about if you want to get it off your chest, because we haven't actually met since the Denmark game either. So there's two games that we haven't covered. Last time it was 2 days after the Serbia game. We haven't done a podcast since the previous game, so a lot to vent about if you want to get that off your chest, Renty.
There is, to be fair, and I was venting at full time last night. And has it been confirmed now then that we've got Holland in the round of 16? Because everyone in Group F has just finished on 4 points, haven't they? Draws all over.
Yeah, so I think we're going to get one of the third place teams across 3 different groups. So we might need to wait until the final game's done tonight. So we've got Georgia and Portugal, Czech Republic and Turkey tonight. So we might get a third place team there. But I'll just double check. There we go. So we'll get a third place team from either Group D, E, or F. So yeah, we need to wait for F to finish tonight.
Well, there we go. We'll wait for that. But as it stands, it will be Holland on Sunday at 5 p.m. Martin Dubravka's Slovakia have just qualified as well with their 1-1 draw Romania. But we'll leave the international stuff for a little bit. Shout out to everyone that has tuned in. Nearly 100 people live already. And as always, thanks to Warbeer for this one. You just can scan the QR code in the top corner of your screen, get yourself a pack of War Beer and support War Flags. In the process, you'll also see the link on the ticker at the bottom as well. Unfortunately, we're not at the brewery. I haven't got any in the house. So I'm on the old Peronis, which is nice to be fair in this weather. Goes down a treat.
It's better than what I've got, but like I say, refreshing. It's cold, so it's doing the trick.
Definitely better than what you've got, Right then, shout out Brent, who's a member as well. All right, lads, hope all is good.
Now, Brent.
Ian, who's in there as always, buongiorno. James is saying Guarassi to Dortmund today, in case you missed it, lads.
Oh, I did.
Deal for them, Martin. Nice and cheap one. Okay, so no other place to start other than Isak to Chelsea. Apparently, Keg, the teams are in talks. Discussions have been ongoing. Chelsea are going to pay more than 115 million required. Obviously, that would break their transfer record. It came out this afternoon. Reports from local press saying it would cost up to 200 million, is what Newcastle would only consider listening to for Isak, which would obviously make him the world's most expensive player ever, just ahead of Neymar on 198 million. That Paris Saint-Germain move, which is absolutely mental. Yeah. So I've already done a video on Isak to Chelsea, Keg, my initial thoughts on it, so I'll let you take centre stage.
I mean, it's a head scratcher. I don't really know where to start, but it is difficult. Obviously, he's our main man, and we don't want to sell him for toffee. So it's having this bid come in, like a very good bid. It's a bit worrying. I don't like it. Renty.
Smells.
It does smell stinky in here. That might just be the sweat because it's warm. But
I'm sweating at the thought of Isak.
I am, and now that it's making it worse. I don't know, man.
Think it's going to happen?
I like that they're trying to put them off by saying that we're not going to accept anything under 200 million. That's like putting them off. And if you're gonna offer that, then you can have them. I'm not going to hold them back that much. Bloody hell. Obviously, we don't want to sell them. 120 million or plus would be a Premier League record fee, I believe. I think Chelsea hold that, don't they? Caicedo, the Premier League's all-time signing. So, yeah, if they make Isak the most expensive player in Premier League history, then it's not a bad offer. And again, for the FFP thing, like having to sell to earn, basically, like you can flip an FFP signing like threefold. So say it's 120 million, bloody hell, we can replace him with that and fix the rest of the squad for it pretty much. Like, we're worried about losing like Bruno and whatnot, but if we got 120 million for either one of the two, say it was Bruno on the other hand, you could fix a lot of holes for the FFP value of 120 million. So it's tempting, but nah. He's still so young as well. That's the good thing. He's still so young, and he can get better. He's had a couple of injuries as well. Like even last season, I think he was it 24 in all competitions. I think it was 24, 25 in all competitions. Best since Shearer done in 2004. So 20 years. He's been my best striker in 20 years, man. Played in the Champions League for still so young, a solid international. Nah, unless you're gonna go with 200 million, fuck off.
And even then, 200 million is a lot of money, and you can do a lot with that because it's not just the 200 million or the 120 or whatever you're going to get. Obviously, it's amortized, so it's pretty much works out as triple that in financial fair play terms.
Yeah.
So you've got 100 plus for Isak. That means you can spend around 300 million.
Yeah.
You know, you can get 5-6 top players that would really improve the squad. Or can you? Because a good point here was what Shieldsy said is hypothetically, look at the money Spurs got for Bale, and they bought Dross with it. Soldado. And all them, man. Do you know what I mean?
But that was them. The point is you get the money. You've just got to spend it wisely. Spurs didn't, but that's why there's a term that you call Spursy. The Spurs that up, hopefully. And I'm not saying that we're going to not be a Spurs, but I think that we're a little bit smarter. And I think they maybe panicked because Bale was world class. I don't think you can say that about Isak right now. Like, he's on his way. He's a bloody good striker. But at the time, Bale was one of the best players in the world. Isak's not. He's on his way there potentially, but yeah, Bill was just a different gravy at the time. So I think Spurs panicked and just spunked their money where they could. But I think we'll be a bit smarter than that and calculate who we need to bring in position wise. And Eddie Howe likes the right characters. Like, it has to fit the team, but like fit like the culture of the club as well. So I think we would spend that money wisely, a lot more than a lot better than Spurs did anyway.
Well, we've done a pretty solid job, haven't we, since the takeover at spending money. And I'll counteract Shields' point there with Spurs, and I'd go with the reference of Aston Villa selling Grealish. They obviously reinvested that 100 million very well. They got themselves into the Champions League. Yeah. So it is all about how you spend it, because let's be honest, Chelsea, who were in for him, haven't spent very well at all since Todd Bowley came in with these 10-year deals and big money and everything else. So it is all up in the air. But the Isak thing, people are asking, we're obviously up for selling here because we would have just said he's not for sale. But we have been having discussions.
Talks,
not like we've shut them down, is it? We haven't said not for sale. We're kind of like, what are you going to go to, basically?
Yeah. And
that's the worrying thing, because for me in this day and age, I think Alexander Isak, I know it's a lot of money, he's just irreplaceable. I honestly think he's one of the best in the world.
Yeah, me too. We got just try to think like what we could get. Like, you're gonna go for like Osman or Sesko or
Calvert-Lewin.
The Boniface. Like, I think he was one of them. Like, you could buy well for that, but it's like, do you want to? Like, it could be like, it'll be a step back, like getting like Isaac's got 2 years Premier League experience, whereas they've got none. So it'd be like 2 steps like back, but you could maybe move forward because they're all quite young players and upcoming talented players. Like, let them have a shot in the Premier League, see what they can do. But it's like, why would we want to do that? Like, like, I don't really even see it being a step forward either, to be fair. Like, if anything, if they're as good as Isak, it'll be like on par. Like, I don't really see either of them being better than what Isak could be, with a little bit more experience in Premier League games under his belt. And if he can like shake off his injury history, then I don't really see any of them being an improvement on Isak, to be honest.
No, me neither. I think it's smart because people are saying, we'll end up selling Isak and have some money with Eddie Howe will buy Calvert-Lewin or Dominic Solanke with it.
That's the worry. I mean, Yeah, I mean, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's been in the rumours this week and out, to be fair, hasn't it? We haven't even really met speaking about that.
No, I've done a couple of videos on him. I was never been so excited in my life at a transfer falling through, to be honest. Do you reckon I was being harsh on Calvert-Lewin, Keg, or where did you stand on us being linked with him?
Like everyone else, not happy. 4 or 5 years ago, then I would have had him. What really worried me was the transfer fee more than anything. Like initially, the talk was 20 million. And I don't see it being that bad. Like I do believe that we need 3 strikers. Like I've said that a million times, but now you've just got to make sure that you keep Wilson and Isak as well, and just add them to what a group of strikers. But Wilson and Calvert-Lewin are both quite injury-prone players, and Isak's had his injuries as well. So it's not great having 3 injury-prone players on your team, really, is it? But yeah, 20 million. He's a decent age. He's got Premier League experience, can score goals when fit. Although even when he's been fit over the last 2 seasons, he hasn't really done now with it. Mm-hmm. So I don't see it being the worst signing in the world. Although the prices just keep going up and up and up. Like you're hiring Minteh in there. The next thing I know, it's 35 million. Then it's 40 million. Fuck off, man. like back when 2019, 20, and 2021, he was on fire. He was absolutely class under Ancelotti, and when he had assists from James Rodriguez, he was unreal. And there was a lot of talk, like Chelsea's were looking at 40, 50 million pound bids for him, and it was warranted then. But 3-4 years later, he hasn't been scoring goals as prolifically. He's got injury troubles. Why the fuck would I spend any more than 30 million on him? Absolutely no chance. 20 million maximum I would take, but nah, even then I'm clutching at straws.
Same. I would have maybe calmed down a little bit on the reaction to Calvert-Lewin saying if it was like an all right price, if it was like 10, 15 million, 20 would even be a bit far, but like that much, 10 to 15 for a backup striker is what you'd hope he would be. Isak stays, and if you bring on Calvert-Lewin off the bench and you only cost 10, 15, I think that's all right. I can probably get on board with that a little bit. He's a different option, but when they're talking about 37 million pounds, and that Calvert-Lewin's obviously one of the highest earners, if not the highest, at Goodison Park on like 160, 70 grand a week.
Is he?
We're never going to give him anything like that.
Why?
So, that one good season, man.
I didn't know he was on that much. Jesus Christ. Absolutely no chance. You're at least slashing his wages in half if you're bringing him here.
Remember when he got into that? When he got in the England team, he's actually had 11 appearances at senior level for England, which I didn't think was that many. Must have had Southgate minutes there, like stock exchange. But back then he was linked with £50 million moves to Man U, to Arsenal, and everything. He got himself a nice bumper deal and stayed at Everton. But now Calvert-Lewin for me, I'm pleased that one's not gone through. To be honest with you, but that whole thing has been revolved around this PSR deadline that is in place, 30th of June. We've seen loads of loopholes being touched at. The Premier League have came out today and said, we're going to scrutinise and look into every single signing. We're going to be investigating things and making sure clubs aren't trying to get away with things. A bit like how Aston Villa and Chelsea are swapping players for silly money for academy players. You see that academy player that's going from Aston Villa to Chelsea? They paid 600 grand for him last year, and they're paying 19 million for him now, and he's paid 500 minutes of football.
Holy shit.
So it's just a complete PSR loophole. So this is basically one of the titles of the podcast, why Newcastle have to sell this week. And it is because the profit and sustainable rules compliance is due to balance the books before June 30th. To cut a long, complicated story short, Premier League sides have until that date, which represents the final cut-off point for the 3-year PSR period, to ensure they have stuck to their financial obligations and avoid repercussions such as a points deduction. Meaning, players are set to be shipped out this week at the likes of Newcastle United, Forest, Villa, Chelsea. You're seeing them all linked, and that's the main reason, which we'll get onto in a minute, of your guy Minteh, the 19-year-old talent who, despite not kicking a ball in black and white and only signing a year ago, who impressed on loan at Feyenoord, is now attracting serious interest from around Europe for a 40 million valuation placed on his head. And basically, because of that PSR deadline is why we are forced to sell people this week. Quickly on the one I just talked about there, Keg, and Ian's there in the comments, he's only on £800 a week. This
Who's
kid,
that?
he's about to go
Oh,
to
from
Chelsea
Oh,
and get
Jesus
pretty
Christ.
40 grand a week or whatever it'll be.
That's
So starting with
mental.
Chelsea and Villa, this is by far the most out there example of this new PSR and how it completely doesn't work. It's an absolute shambles, and they need to bin it off. So Chelsea are signing Amari Kellyman, an 18-year-old striker, now valued at just shy of 20 million. The teenager was only bought by Villa for £600,000 a year ago and has since played just 715 minutes of football in the Premier League 2 and 35
I was
minutes
going to say, I thought
in
you
the
meant
Premier League.
35. I was going to say, I didn't even have the kid. Like, you couldn't have played that many minutes in the Premier League and gotten that much under the radar, but 35 minutes, all right, fair enough, that makes sense.
So how, in any logical sense, can this player be worth 19 million quid when he's played about half an hour of Premier League football? I mean, it's just bonkers, man. And no one that's raising eyebrows, and the Premier League are backfiring now, saying they're going to investigate everyone's deals. So, and then in return, just like Newcastle, we're going to do with Calvert-Lewin, and then Everton, we're going to get Minteh. Chelsea are set to sell their star left back, Ian Maatsen, who obviously was unreal on Dortmund last year, for 37.5 million. Holland International, highly rated. That's just slightly inflated. Maatsen's probably worth about 20 odd, 30 tops, but 37.5. It's inflated, but most deals are. However, still, it's a bit mad. And no way did Chelsea want to let Maatsen go. They already let the other left back go, Lewis Hall to us, thankfully. So they'd want to keep him, but because they know it's going to really help balance the books and then kind of fund towards an Isak signing, they're going to do it. Elsewhere, Villa have signed Lewis Dobbin, never heard of him either, from Everton for £10 million, despite his transfer valuation sitting at £2 million.
Oh, I had a way, man.
Going the other way, Everton have bought Tim Irigbunum from Villa for a fee of £9 million, despite, again, his transfer market valuation being £4 million. So you can see the old knock-on effect here, Keg, and the way things are going. So in explanation of these inflated deals for young stars, it's clever. It's a loophole. Briefly explain it here. For example, if you sign a player for 20 million and then sell one of your players for 20 million, the fee you paid can be amortized over the length of a 4 or 5 year contract. In return, the amount received can be put onto the balance sheet for this month before the PSR accounts reset. That's why all these deals are getting inflated and done in this week before June 30th. It's a clever loophole that teams are exploiting, but provides yet another reason to loathe the current financial restrictions placed on Premier League clubs. And obviously, the problem we've got is that since the takeover, we've spent around 400 million on new players, and we've only made around 60 odd million in sales. I think it is. It's not shown as that bit there now.
Yeah, it's about that.
But where is it? But yeah, obviously we're trying to offset the likes of Longstaff, Wilson, Almiron, Trippier. However, no one's in the market for these at the minute. A lot of those are in international duty or whatever, and people aren't eyeing them up. So people who do want to go is the likes of Minteh. Well, who we can see going in this week. We're getting to Minteh's future in just a minute. But you've got to think, because Newcastle only paid 6 million for Yankuba Minteh a year ago, if teams are coming in offering 40, and that's why they're doing it. What do you make of those bonkers rules, Keg, and the mad transfer fees?
It's just bollocks, isn't it? Like, FFP rules, like they're like 20 years old now, and eventually people have started to find loopholes where they can like just start flipping things. It's not necessarily getting away with them; it's just finding out a way to kind of like maximize their profits and stuff. Like, it's just bollocks. It's just so stupid and outdated. It's like they need to hurry up and just bin it and like try and find a new way. And like it's just daft because it wasn't even a thing when like Chelsea had their big takeover with Abramovich and when City had their big takeover. So they were able to just spend money here, there, and everywhere. And now like it's in and it's just stupid. Like, but like again, like, as I say, like people are starting to find loopholes now. So it's just daft. Like they need to just pull the plug on FFP. It's a load of shite. People are finding out ways like Chelsea, Todd Bowley, like spending way over the odds for like a Mudryk and whoever else have signed over the past few years and putting them on like 10-year deals because it minimizes, like it only counts like 1 year or something across like the 8 or 9 years of their contracts. Like it's just shite. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And like people having to like like trying to like force like Minteh, like good because we bought him for quite cheap last year, and now we're pretty much having to sell him. Like, and now nobody really wants to, but it's like the case of, oh wait, we're gonna have to, or it's gonna have to be like Bruno or Isak for 100 odd million, and just try and flip that profit into whatever FFP value is. It's just shite. It's just so fucking stupid, man.
It's outrageous how it's turned out for me. The Premier League have tried to, what it seems, is always keep that big six together, and us and Villa at the minute are the ones breaking into that, trying to battle against that. But for me, their model is just crumbling, and it's just hindering everyone now. Because even when Chelsea are having to do this kind of madness, and they've been selling hotels that they own to try and back up their FFP of how much money they've spent. Apparently, they're in talks to sell the training ground so they can then sign players this summer. It's all just madness, man.
Well, they're going to train in the fucking car park.
No, I'd love to know where they're going to train. Like, but honestly, it's crazy, like the way it's turning out, and it's hindering the league really, because then you're stopping players being able to move. You're stopping us to attract the better players, and it's no wonder that these players are as well, like taking off to Saudi and taking off to these other places, because they're not getting what they want really here now, and we're ruining the league really and making it anti-competitive by not allowing us. The length we're going to have to go to is summed up by this, because if we have to sell Isak, our star striker, our main guy since we've made the takeover, our record signing 63 million, and if we have to ship him out after a couple of years, just so that means that we can continue to develop the squad and actually invest into it, that shows how you always keep the little man down. Yeah, and the big one always rises.
That is what FFP is all about. Like Chelsea, City, and stuff. Like they have, Chelsea have because they fucked up, but like a City, Liverpool, they're not having to sell their star assets like after a couple of years, like for profit, because they have to, because FFP says that you can't buy anyone else. Like they're just buying people and just keeping them for like 10 years, winning leagues and stuff, and that's it. Like you're selling like a Sancho and stuff, like youngsters, like whoever else that they've had, like Chelsea over the years had like De Bruyne and Lukaku and all kinds of people. Salah, yeah, like the amount of people that they had, Andre Schürrle, people that just never really got a game, had to sell them and stuff. Like it's just absolute. It just doesn't even make sense anymore. Like I don't get why it has to be like you feel like you need to be a bloody mathematician to work it out. Like I didn't work for the club. I didn't really give a shit, to be honest. But the fact that teams are having to do all of this stuff, like trying to like balance the books here and sell this person for this value so we can do X, Y, and Z, like bloody hell. You probably need a bloody maths degree to be able to figure it out. Like, it's like how for the average fan, it just doesn't make sense. But you're looking at it and like you're saying like these like kids like Villa and Everton are signing for like 9 million when their true value is 2. You're like, what the fuck are they doing that for? Or like even like Minteh for 40. It's like, how's that happened? But it's because teams are having to do it to like balance out books and for other purposes. Like, it's just mental. How has anyone ever meant to figure it out? Like, you read all these articles about the changes of FFP and all the new proposals and stuff. I'm just thinking, it doesn't even make sense. No. Like, as long as like the owners or chief executives or whoever it is that deals with transfers understands it, then it's way beyond my pay grade. Like, it's not for me to try and figure out. Bloody hell, I feel like I need to be Goodwill Hunting or something to try and figure that shit out.
Like the Hangover, all the figures going around in the background of Alan's head. It's bonkers. Like, well, you mentioned Minteh. That's the main man. That's Fabrizio Romano said will 100% be sold this week. However, he's got other ideas, Yankuba, because it came out today that he has rejected Lyon. The French club had agreed a fee close to £40 million, the value Newcastle have put on the Gambian winger, but he's rejected the opportunity to discuss personal terms. He's told the club that he will not be forced into a transfer, despite the Mags wanting to conclude a deal this week before that June 30th deadline. So he apparently wanted to go to Everton, didn't he? That's fell through. He wanted to test himself in the Prem. There has been talks over the last couple of days. He's agreed terms with a mystery team, but lots of people said it was Lyon. Obviously, we know Dortmund were in for him, Roma. What did you make of Minteh turning down Ligue 1 Lyon?
I respect it. Clearly, he doesn't want to go, and I don't want to go either. It's just the value, like the crazy sum of 40 million, that you're even considering, like, oh yeah, we probably should sell him because of all this FFP bollocks. Like, we should, because I've never even seen him play. We signed him about 12 months ago for 7 million. So that profit's absolutely insane. So in number talks and in money financial terms, yeah, we'll have to sell him. But yeah, I don't want to. I think he's a top talent. I've been bigging him up for ages. I think he's got more potential than Almiron. I think he can come in our team and make an impact next year. But he said he wants to play in the Premier League. That's why he chose Everton out of the likes of like Dortmund and all these other teams that were interested in him. Leon's been serious about it. I think there's been a couple of other teams, like maybe it's Lille and I don't know who else, but loads of teams are wanting him. And he chose Everton. Are you fucking mad?
Believe it.
Yeah.
He's obviously never been, has he? We've been a few times.
That clearly goes to show you that he wants to play in the Premier League. It is the best league in the world. I think you couldn't handpick a better team for him to go to than Dortmund because they're so good at developing young talents. I think he'd absolutely flourish there, and his price tag would probably double in a couple of years. But he wants to try himself in the Premier League, and he's already at a top Premier League team, already better than Everton. So why would he want to go anywhere? He wants to stay at Newcastle and prove himself at the club that showed dedication in him a year ago when nobody else did. He was playing in for a Norwegian team whose name I can't even pronounce a year ago. We were the team that snapped him up. He thought we were selling him the dream of playing in the Premier League, as is most kids' dreams from around the world. We give him that opportunity, and he wants to do it. He doesn't want to fucking get... Everton's maybe his best option. He feels out of Leon, Dortmund, whoever else. He's wrong, but that's not for me to say. So yeah, why shouldn't he just stay at Newcastle? And if we do have to sell Isak, say by the end of the week, we'll sell Isak for 120 million. We don't need to sell because of the FFP flipping the 120 million that we get from him. We don't need to sell Minteh. So just wait and see how it plays out. Like I don't think we should be forced into selling him. Obviously, if he doesn't want to go anywhere, you can't force him to go anywhere unless you release his contract. But if people are throwing you 30, 40 million bids out of him, you're not going to do that, are you? So he's kind of holding us ransom. And for a 19-year-old, I respect it because I want him to stay. So yeah, hold yourself out, young king. You do your thing.
I really respect it, Yeah, I think it's class that you said it though. He's obviously been, sold the project when he signed, 6 million. Even eyebrows were raised for 6 million because, like you said, came from nowhere, and you thought, all right, well, he does well on loan and whatnot, and he's been told, like, yep, future's here. You know what I mean? Come back here a few years time, whatever, and he wants to be here. You know what I mean? He wants to be at the Toon, and he wants to show what he can do, and I love that. I think it's great because I think that's the kind of attitude you obviously want in a player, and if he can get a chance in Japan in pre-season, if he can get a chance at the start, the first month of the season before the transfer window closes, and he can show what he's capable of, then you don't need to go out and spend 50, 60 on a right winger. You've got one there that you value at 40 anyways. Well, we don't. The thing is, I don't want to see him leave, but if someone does pay 40 million for him, I can't complain at that. Like,
no,
I've never seen football for the Toon. He hasn't played a second. 20 million, I'm not lost. That's not good enough. Keep him.
No, yeah.
But when you're touching 40 million for someone who's had one good season in the Dutch league, it's I wouldn't be against that. But he's obviously thinking, no, this is where I want to be. I want to be in the Prem. I want to be in England.
Might even be holding out for Liverpool because apparently Arnie Slot wants to take him back because he had him at a final last year, and Salah's knocking on a little bit, and also maybe he likes the idea of going to Merseyside but not to the blue side. Maybe he's hold out for better, my friend. Just stay there, wait for Liverpool. If Liverpool didn't come, then just stay at Newcastle. We'll take care of you until a Liverpool or a bigger team like a bloody Real Madrid or Barca or someone comes in for you. Like I think Dortmund's a brilliant move for him. I think that's the best one he's got on the table. But if they're not going to come to 40, then fuck him. Same with everyone else. I think Everton were only wanting to pay 30. Nah, what's the point? It's like it's like DiCaprio and Django. It's like, you had me attention at 40. Like, the only reason that we started this negotiation was because you offered us a ridiculous price. We're not going to get down to 30. Like, people have been saying that they'll have them for 40. Fuck you, 30. Like, unless anyone's going to pay with a penny less than 40 million, then I'm not interested. Just stay where you are. Like, no one wants them to leave. And unless someone's going to pay that ridiculous price, then it's just got to stay put, really, isn't it?
Aye, having fair play to the kid. We'll see how it goes on, though, because Newcastle will still be pushing to get him sold this week, according to transfer guru Fabrizio Romano. So we'll wait and see if anyone else comes in close to that 40 million valuation. But unless it's a Premier League team or unless maybe they are negotiation with like a Dortmund, because that's a big exciting proposition for him, surely.
Yeah.
Champions League football and everything, more than a Lyon. Because again, you look at Lyon and I need to
French league
respect them, but
shite. Marseille, they're another team that were interested in, weren't they?
like
It was Marseille, not
the
Lille.
league's not exciting, and unless
Nah,
you're
it's shite, man.
PSG, who wants to go in there? Like, yeah, I'm not. I don't blame him for really turning them
Even
down.
like
I
I
think
know PSG's still got some big superstars that are a bloody good team, but you haven't got Mbappe, you haven't got Messi. Like they're not really as good as they used to be, even back to like Ibrahimovic days. Like they're not really that exciting anymore for me, PSG, and the league is shite. Like no wonder they've been winning it for the past bloody 19 years or something. Like it's just a poor standard league, and I think everybody knows that now. I think that's why Mbappe, they've been trying to get him to sign a new deal for like 3 years, but he just keeps saying, no. Like, his contract's mental and all. He practically had like part ownership at the age of like 21 or something. Like, that's how much they wanted to keep him, because they knew as soon as like a Real Madrid or someone comes offering, then he's going to go, and they've had to end up letting him go for free because he's worth probably like Neymar. He's another big name that I forgot to mention. Neymar's not there anymore. Like Neymar's the world record transfer at the minute. Mbappe could have been worth easy more than that. But because he didn't want to play in France that much and he refused to sign new contracts, they've lost him for free. And that's just how shite the French league is. So yeah, I respect him for not going to Lyon or Marseille or any of the other French teams interested. I think Dortmund's the best team he can go to unless Liverpool come after him. Everton, no point going there. Might as well stay at Newcastle. So yeah, between Newcastle and Dortmund, they're his two best offers for me.
No, they are. But there's some breaking news, Keg, as there normally always is on these live shows. And this one's coming from Matt Law at the Daily Telegraph. And he's the Chelsea guy, by the way. Now you've got Keith up here and stuff. Craig wrote and that. Matt Law's always the Chelsea one. Matisse always retweets stuff and that from a more YouTube channel. Matt Law with this one on Alexander Isak. Chelsea are not in the market to buy Alexander Isak this summer. The money involved would be insane, which makes it a non-starter.
Excellent. Just what you
There we have it. There we have it. All good. So it looks like now Newcastle have been there and said to Chelsea, because, Craig Hope said that the discussions have been taking place, but it's got to the point where Newcastle have been like what we said at the start of the show, unless it's an astronomical fee.
Yeah.
You can fuck off, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that maybe would consider maybe 120 at most. I think they'd be a little bit reluctant to sell it. But I think for Chelsea, I think if they did spend that money, which is kind of mental, I think that could be a bit of a game changer for them. Like maybe they're like a 20 season goal away striker away from actually being a good team now. Because they had Palmer do it from the wing last year. A lot of them were penalties, but you can't rely on bloody Cole Palmer to pull you out the mud for so long. Like a proper good striker, Premier League proven, because over the years they've had some shite. Like some of the strikers they've pulled in from around the world just haven't done a thing. Yeah, I think signing Isak, who's Premier League proven already capable of scoring 20 Premier League goals, could really change them into a top team. But yeah,
I think the same goes with Arsenal, mate. I think, if Arsenal if Arsenal signed him, they would have won the league last year.
Yeah. If you're not wanting to pay the money, then crack on. No worries, I'm not bad.
So that is great news, if that's to be believed, from the Telegraph. But as this is always the case in the transfer window, this morning there's reports he's leaving. He's in talks with Chelsea, and then 10 hours later, he's not going, can't afford him. So strap yourselves in for a crazy old summer, as usual. Moving on to some other transfer rumours before we get into the Euro 2024 stuff. Yeah, David's right there. Matt Law was the one to break that. Posh left Chelsea first. He does everything Chelsea.
Everything that I've seen from him, it's reliable.
Right. So Newcastle have held talks with Saudi Pro League over deals for Miguel Almiron and Callum Wilson in recent days. So this would obviously be more ideal, getting rid of the likes of Miggy and Wilson over, your Mintehs, your Isaks, and your Brunos. So Graham Bailey there from the... don't know where he's from somewhere, is reporting that, which we know of anyways, don't we, okay? We know that obviously Al-Shabaab came in for Almiron in January for 30 mil. Miggy decided not to go. And Callum Wilson, he's been talking to West Ham. He's got offers on the table for a big payday before this summer. So If he wants to go to Saudi, we'll wait and see. But those could be away, which again would be nice. That makes sense, doesn't it? Getting rid of them to Saudi, that would be nice for the old FFP.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know why we haven't done this sooner. Obviously, with our connections, everybody thought that we'd be wheeling and dealing with the Saudis with our ownership, like owning the majority of the league and all, or at least the top 4 teams in the league anyway. Everyone thought that we'll be buying and selling between them for ages, and that's why they try to get the thingy with them co-ownership thing. Like, oh, you can't sell between ownership because everyone was shit scared that Newcastle were going to be buying like Benzema and Neymar and all that shit. But yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't get why not. Like, the Saudi market is there to use. Like, a lot of players went there, and I think just for a quick paycheck, I cannot see anyone staying there for the long term. Like, I remember when China was all the rage and loads of people were going over to China, but it's just shite quality, man. And so I don't think anyone really likes the Saudi lifestyle. The like the weekly paychecks, that's not too bad. It's a nice little consolation. But for those that seriously want to enjoy their football career, because it's not long, you're lucky to get 20 years out of a football career. So you've got to make the most of it if you want your legacy to be one of the best. That you have to play with the best. You have to be with the best teams in the best leagues against the best oppositions in the best competitions, like the Champions League. Like, just earning a shit ton of money playing bloody Al Shabaab every week. Like, who gives a shit? Like, you're doing your bank account wonders, but your legacy nay good. But yeah, if they're interested, and especially for the likes of Almiron, who will want to get rid of anyway, he's nay good. If they want to pay 30-odd million, which has been the rumor, absolutely class, because I don't think he's worth that. Was spent less than that 4 or 5 years ago when he was with Club Record signing. And yeah, Wilson, he's got injury prone. He's injury prone. He's difficult. Again, I still think we need to sign a new striker. If we're selling, I think we need to buy 2, because I already believe we need 3 strikers. If we lose him, then we need to buy 2. So I'm not keen on selling Wilson this year, at least anyway. I'd like to keep hold of him for at least 1 more year till we'll start building up to be able to replace him. I think we'll buy 1 striker this year, then we'll keep the 3. Then next year, move on and see what we can do in that regard. But again, depends on the transfer fee. Like, he's like, what, 32 now, something, Wilson. He's injury prone. If someone's gonna come in for like 20 million or something, then it's hard to say now, really, innit? So yeah, it depends on them offers. But yeah, if we can start selling them lots with like Dubravka, or maybe get a couple of million for him and whoever else. There's some players there that are potentially sellable who we can sell. It's not going to get you a lot. It's not going to do FFP the world of good unless we sell Minteh. He's the only one who's really going to make a huge impact. Obviously, if we keep Isak and Bruno, they're the 2 ones that's going to make a huge impact on FFP. So yeah, maybe it's them plus Minteh. Don't want to let him go, but yeah. But then again, like, if we're talking about our right wingers, like, well, lack of depth, like I mentioned the strikers. If you sell Minteh and Almiron, we've only got Murphy, so we're going to need to buy 2 wingers if we sell him. So if we sell Wilson and Miggy, that's 4 players that we're going to need to sign. We're going to need 2 right wingers and 2 strikers to replace them. So,
well, I think Murphy would be able to step in since we've got new European football. You'd hope that we knew right winger would be able to start most games. Like Anthony Gordon started on the other side. Maybe could Barnes switch over if need be, or one of them switch over. I think with only 1 game a week, you should be able to play the same person every week, really, shouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's Murphy and Arthur. Like, no disrespect to Murphy. I think he's a great player and he's very, very underrated. But if we're going to try and get top 4, can you rely on Murphy being your best right winger?
No, but I hope that whoever we're signing for 50, 60 million can stay bloody fit. That would help.
That would be all right. I just think we just need more depth, and it is aiming towards the future. Like, I know we haven't got European football now, so Tari's saying that, yeah, we've got less games, and you can rely on one new player. If we spend 50 million on a player, then you got Murphy as your backup and Barnes backing up, Gordon on the left. If we're going to have to sign a new striker for sell Wilson, so we've got him playing, but I just feel like that's a bit too shallow. I'd rather kind of buy the players on longer term contracts now for hopefully being in the Champions League or any kind of European football next year to prevent having to go out and panic buying like we did last year. I think like we've got Champions League a lot sooner than expected, and we thought, oh fuck, this squad's nowhere near ready. So we went on board Tonali, spoke nearly all our money there, had to sell some Maximin to be able to afford Barnes and Tino. So I think just continue to build. Don't wait a year. I just think get all your players in now, ready for hopefully Champions League football the year afterwards, or at least Europa League or whatever it is. Like build your depth now and your quality pieces, because I think you need to think about that depth, that you can't just be relying on like Murphy and like whoever, like Sean Longstaff and Dan Burn and people like that, like for the long term. Just get the best possible players you can in every single position as soon as possible. So when we need them, but our depth's already there, and we're not scrambling around last minute trying to find players that can play in the Champions League.
Yeah, what do you think about that potential right wing replacement being Chelsea's Noni Madueke?
I don't know a lot about him, to be honest with you, but I've heard good things. Still quite young. I think Chelsea spent a canny bit on him last year and all, didn't they?
29 and a half.
That's mental. That what are we looking to get him for?
Probably around the same. You think probably a 30, maybe 40 tops. Depends if Chelsea are happy with that though, because they want the money back and probably a bit more, isn't it?
Yeah, I know he's in the under 23 squad. Gets a fair few minutes there. Hasn't had a lot of minutes for Chelsea. I don't know. I know the potential, and he's still young. But if it's that kind of money, 30, 40 million. I don't know. I'd rather keep Minteh. But yeah, I don't know. I can't really judge too much about him. Like, I don't know a lot about him personally. If it's that kind of money, I definitely would rather keep Minteh. No jokes. Absolutely dead serious about that. Yeah, I think if we got Minteh money, I'd rather go and get someone a bit more experienced like Chiesa. I've seen a few comments. Is it Kudo, the Japanese kid? I quite like him. I think he's a good player.
Where's he at again?
Spain, somewhere, La Liga. I can't remember
Girona
exactly who.
Is
it Girona? I can't remember. Yeah, someone put it in the comments where Kudo plays. Yeah, is it Valencia? Can't remember. Anyway, yeah, he's a decent player at least. Anyway, Sociedad, Aaron says Real. That's the one. Real Sociedad. Cheers, Aaron. Yeah, Madueke, take it or leave it. I think the price tag's a little bit too high, to be honest. But yeah, decent player.
Madueke, I think I did a video on him the other day. I think if I remember, it was 23 appearances in the league last season for Chelsea, 5 goals and 2 assists. So he scored a couple of screamers. There's potential there, but again, I think there are options out there, and then you look at
definitely.
I've obviously been bigging up good old Brian and Buemo.
Yeah,
for quite some time as well. I think he fits our system perfectly. Gets the goals, both feet he can use, which would be
down the middle as well.
Yeah, he's slotted in for when Tony was out as a 9. Someone shouting for Kudos there. That would be amazing. We got Kudos, but he'd be crazy money because West Ham when he signed him last year. Morgan Gibbs White, obviously he's one that's very heavy linked. I can see us going in for him.
Yeah,
definitely see us going in for him. Off the subject of right wing there, though, okay, we've always talked about, that who would be happy to be a third choice striker. We just talked about Wilson, maybe going to Saudi or West Ham. And I've said, just going in for someone like a Brereton Diaz, who was on loan at Sheffield United, someone who was R8 and can come off the bench and maybe cause a bit of problems. Good shout here by John, I don't mind this shout. What you lads think of Carlton Morris from Luton? Looks like a proper Eddie Howe player. Players like Watkins, cheap, who would have massively improved on the Howe. He did score some goals for Luton last year in the Prem, and I wouldn't mind him as a little backup. Obviously, I wouldn't want him starting, but in terms of squad depth, play him in the cup and that, bring him off the bench, I think that's all right. That
would he be like a third choice or like second choice?
Third, maybe pushing second, depending on what we do there with Wilson. I
think for like third choice, I think if we kept Wilson or at least replaced Wilson with someone a little bit more reliable, and then brought him in as well, then I think that squad depth's brilliant. I think he is a good player. Had a brilliant season in the Championship before last, and scored a couple of goals in the Premier League as well. So in terms of third choice options, absolutely class.
Got played every game last year for Luton in the Prem, 38 matches, 11 goals, double figures, and 4 assists for Luton Town. It's fucking really good, isn't it?
Really good. I say 11 goals and a team that kind of struggled to score goals for the most part of the season. If you come in third choice, as you say, play cup games or whatever, just take the pressure off your Isaacs and maybe even your second choice player, just for rotation. if you get like a League One, League Two team in the cup, they'll do more than do your job. Just take that pressure off. And even if you sign them to like a longer term deal, like I say, in the future when we get the Premier League and when we get the Champions League, yeah, if you're playing like League Cup games, like if you're playing like 2-3 games a week in the League Cup, then fucking right? So you just hire him in instead of like wasting people's energy.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
You've got people asking for Grassi there as a striker. He's on his way to Dortmund. Obviously, it's all happening in Germany today. Michael Elise's had his medical at Bayern Munich.
Has he?
He's having that this week. Sorry, he's
That's a
having his
shame
medical
because
this week.
he would have been the top right wing target, like, wouldn't he?
Shame just to even see him out the league now because he was even a joy.
Yeah, he was good, like, wasn't he? Aye.
What else we got on the agenda then? There's been quite a few Italian defenders linked. In recent times, I did a video on Calvert-Lewin, who looked really good again for Italy the other night. Everyone's after him now. We've got Buongiorno, of course, who we want to sign. That'll be perfect. But there was a new name that popped up today.
Oh.
It came out from the Italian media, and then it kind of got rebuffed from over here, but then they've pushed back on it again. And that is coming from, where was he from again? Let's just double check this. It was from Juve, Federico Gatti. Riley came out and said, despite reports from Italy, we're not stepping up interest, but then other people have came out again and said, yes, we are. So conflicting reports. And I've got to be honest, Keg, I've never seen him play in my life, Federico Gatti, so I've got no opinion on that whatsoever.
Me either.
Anyone in the comments, big fan of Juventus or Serie A?
I did see a report, probably not a very reliable one, but rebuffing the interest in Tamuri. We spoke about Tamuri a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. I really fancy Tamuri. Obviously playing over there in Italy, but either Italians. It's another one who I'm not entirely sure about, but yeah, I've heard good things about Buongiorno and the other lad. I can't even pronounce his name yet. I'll have to work on that if we do sign him. But yeah, seeing him play a little bit. Buongiorno's not in the. Is he in the Italy squad? I think he's
just been on the bench.
Is he? Yeah.
Because you've got Calvert-Lewin and Bastoni on the starters.
That's the one. It depended on price tags. I think I'm not really too sure because we're looking to big that depth up on the right hand side, even potentially look for a future replacement in Shaw. But with the depth, we've only really got Lascelles who can play out there, and he's out till January, ain't he? So Shaw's standing there alone on the right hand side. Right. So yeah, we definitely need to bring someone in. Kelly's good for beefing up that left side with Byrne and Botman when he comes back, and versatile so he can play out on the left wing as well, left fullback I should say. But yeah, right side centre back, yeah, that's a huge need. That someone who can even come and compete with Shaw. I know Shaw's been class for the last couple of years, and I don't think he needs replaced. I think he's still good enough to play in our starting 11. But if we can get someone in who can come and put pressure on him to improve, then it's all good things. Yeah, if he replaces someone up, who cares? Like, as long as best man wins the job at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. You mentioned Fikayo Tomori. Wait, I need to come off that. I was just trying to change that, but it's not letting us. So you said it's being rebuffed, but again tonight, Ed Aarons from the Guardian is saying that Newcastle have made contact with AC Milan regarding Tomori. Milan are asking for a fee in excess of 40 million quid. It is unclear whether a compromise can be reached. I would love Tomori, mate. Really would.
It's good, yeah. That 40 million, I think it's a lot, but I think he's a good player, and he's experienced now. Played in the Premier League as well, obviously. So he's been here, done that. Couple of England caps now, isn't he? Not too many, but yeah, played for England and done absolutely class over in Italy. So yeah, I think he'd be a brilliant signing. If we can haggle a little bit, try and trim that price tag to under 40, somewhere in the 30s, that's fine. I think that'd be a good signing.
Exactly. One player that has been spotted, Keg, I've never seen him or heard of him before in my life, but it was a Serbian player that has been spotted at the training ground today around St. James's Park as well.
Manja Vidic.
Close.
No.
Miodrag Pivas.
Oh, Pivas, Pivas, didn't you? Went to college with him.
You've always said that you'd love to sign that Pivas, didn't you?
I've been bigging him up for the last 20 years at least,
You've been saying on FM since he was 9. So he's now that he's 19, the defensive midfielder from Serbia looks set to sign for Newcastle. He's been pictured in around the team today. So obviously they're going to have to beef up that academy, aren't they? They've let a lot of players go this summer. beef up.
So he's like a future one, is he? Not for like starting 11, yeah. Oh, well,
he's
yeah.
19, so he's coming in as obviously maybe more experienced head, but there is a lot of replacements there in that reserve team, if you like, for Newcastle, isn't there, next season?
It could be like the kind of beefing up project, like Minteh's like a proper like Dan Ashworth signing, and any like the job that Dan Ashworth done with Brighton, signing absolutely nobodies from absolutely nowhere, bringing them into Brighton, sending them out on loan, coming back, and then like Alexis McAllister, like Caicedos and Esputinians and Cucurella and Mitoma. Like the job he done in signing nobodies from nowhere and turning them into somebody with a loan spell was absolutely unbelievable. And that's why he's so highly regarded. Like, a nice piece of shit and he can fuck clean off. But like that's why he's so highly regarded. That's why we brought him in. That's why Man United want him in. And Minteh's one of them. Minteh's a proper Dan Ashworth. Brought him in from where was it, Norway, team he never heard of his name before in his life. Gambian. Most people didn't even know where Gambia is. And then one loan spell, and then all of a sudden he's worth 40 million. So if this kid can be the next kind of one of them, like I say, don't know who he is, don't know what club he plays for, but that's what we need to be doing. That's what we need to be like looking for, like, because our scouting's been absolutely shocking for years. So if you can sign these kids, like 19's not young really in football terms, but it's young enough to like bring into our academy, maybe give him a loan spell, bring him back in a year or two, and then see what he can do. So yeah, it's as many Mintehs as we can possibly develop in class.
And the more we can keep, that would be great.
Oh, yeah.
So, nice little update from Matthew. Then we're going to finish off the podcast the next 10 minutes because there's some Euro action on. So, we're going to watch that. Georgia got a nice early lead, Keg, in their game. 2 minutes in, Kvaratskhelia with the goal there. Newcastle been linked with him in the past as well. The Napoli winger. That would be lovely to sign him, but he's off.
He'd be a nice one.
Big fee on him. Georgia 1-0 up in there against Portugal, who made 8 changes for tonight's game because they're obviously already topping that group as it stands. Georgia will be third as well, so they could go through. It's on the best third place teams with Turkey in second and Czechia bottom of that group. Not sure how that affects who England play on Sunday because it's mixed and matching. It's all out of the shop, changing every minute. But Keg, we watched the England game last night, 0-0. Gordon finally got some minutes. Four of them in stoppage time. Cole Palmer got about 20 minutes, was it, max? In England, didn't score, barely had a shot on target yet again. It's been a crap tournament so far for us, hasn't it?
It really has. It's just been just boring. And this is why I don't even enjoy watching England. Like, you know me, like qualifiers and friendlies and stuff. Like, I'd rather watch paint dry than England, but I get pumped up every tournament, every Euros, every World Cup. I get excited. I'm like bringing it home. I'm with the lads. I'm patriotic. But then I watch a couple of games and I realize why I fucking hate England. Like, they're just so boring, void of ideas. Squad, the personnel that Southgate puts in, relying on his bloody Calvin Phillipses and all that bullshit. Like, it's just absolutely pathetic, man.
That's a sackable offence, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. As soon as I heard that interview, I was like, right, just sack him now.
Get rid.
Yeah, absolutely done. Can't wait for him to get finished. Like, honestly, I can't wait for actually just to get knocked out because I'm just so bored of it. And now we're not going to win it. We're not good enough to win it at all. So I wish we'd just fucking get knocked out and get Southgate sacked. Like, that's a win.
That's the goal. That's the real trophy.
I know. I'll be lifting that Southgate sack trophy the second it happens, right? It's just shite, man. And it's just so bright. Like, as you said in my predictions, like, we should be so good because we've got Germany's best goal scorer. We've got the best player from Spain, the best player from England. A couple of that good players in there, like Gordon, Palmer, Saka. We've got a brilliant team. Like Declan Rice cost about 105 million just a year ago. It was such a good team on paper, but we play like Gateshead. What the fuck? What just shit?
Not even as good as Gateshead. I'd rather have Mike Williamson, who was Gateshead manager in charge.
Get Adam Campbell up top. He'll put some goals in.
Yeah, well, he's faster than Harry Kane at the minute. Bloody hell.
It's horrible, man. So boring.
It is. It's very horrible. It's very boring. But they somehow managed to top that group, and that sent them through to the round of 16. News today is that Phil Foden has left the England camp there in Germany. He's came home for the birth of his third child. Probably be back for Sunday's game. But some changes need to be made for that lineup, regardless of the Keg. But knowing Southgate, they probably won't.
No, and I feel like, obviously, as I say, on paper, it looks good. The only thing that I've never liked from the off and hasn't worked at all is Foden out on the left. Like, that's where Gordon should be. And it is quite funny that we actually started to look a bit creative and had like a couple of chances when Gordon Palmer came on. Mental that, isn't it?
Crazy.
I don't even know how that works. Like, Southgate's a genius for working that one out. But yeah, like there's nothing wrong with Saka. There's nothing wrong with Bellingham. He just hasn't really been playing well. Bellingham's been taking some pelters for his last couple of appearances, and now he was class in the first game against Serbia. Denmark, not as good, but yeah, just didn't really dean out last night. A bit lethargic, wasn't he? But yeah, I think because we're in the knockout stage, Southgate knows that this is, on paper at least, his best team. So he's not going to change it. No. And as I say, on paper, it does look good, but we're just playing like shit. And I just think Southgate's a bit too afraid to try like Gordon and Palmer and even like Bowen, Eze, Watkins. Like Watkins could do what bloody Kane's done this tournament. That's just absolutely not gone. I quite like what someone said. I don't know what I was watching. I was watching a video I think on Twitter just this afternoon, and someone pointed out that Saka is obviously class. He's one of the Premier League's best right wingers. But someone mentioned that when he first came into the England team, and I think when he first broke into Arsenal as well, he plays a left back. And Trips hasn't really been that good. Mm-hmm. And if you take Saka away from the right wing position, you can put Palmer in. So there you are. Like, they could put Saka at left back, as mad as it sounds, but it's not that mad because he has played there before. But it's just not going to happen. I just can't see it happening. But I think that would actually make a lot of sense. Put Saka at left back, Palmer on the right, Gordon on the left. Try and work out what to do with centre mids. Maybe put Foden in the 10 and drop Bellingham back into the 8. Maybe I don't know if that would work, but I don't know. There's a lot of things that we could do, but I just have absolutely no trust in Southgate doing it. I think we'll just play the exact same team. Maybe Mainu start at centre mid instead of Gallagher or Trent. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do in the next round. Start Mainu alongside Rice, and just everyone else just be exactly the same.
I'm totally with you on the left back shout for Saka. It was Gary Neville it was Ian Wright last night with Gary Neville, Roy Keane, and Postecoglou in the ITV studio that said it. But shout out Big Steve as well, because he first mentioned it on the overlap on the Euro debate. And I think it's a great shout because the balance has been off.
I completely forgot about it, to be fair. I forgot him as a left back. And it does sound crazy to say it out loud. But yeah, you do realise he did play there for both England and Arsenal. And you
can keep up with players, because when we're, even Netherlands, if that's looking likely on Sunday, quick, pacey wingers, Trippier's going to have a nightmare there. He didn't look very good last night. He was better going forward and stuff, I think. He hasn't done necessarily anything wrong, but he hasn't set the world alight. He looks to me like a 33-year-old out of position, basically. Exactly what he is. So I wouldn't mind, since Shaw is never going to be fit this tournament. That was a complete waste of time by Southgate. Just that one, Gareth. Yeah. I would play Saka there, like you say. It frees
he's a natural left footer now, whereas Trippier isn't.
And you'd be able to support. The balance would be much better across the whole team. You could then have, like you said, Palmer, one of the top goal scorers in the Prem, on the right wing. And then even when it comes to that later, I think if we still persistent on playing forward on the left, sub him or moving in the middle, Gordon and Saka on that left would be double sexy.
It would. It'd be really, really nice. Yeah, but not happening. It's a dream.
So England, Keg, will play Holland on Sunday at 5 unless Georgia beat Portugal or Czech Republic beat Turkey by fewer than 3 goals. If either of those results happen, England would play Dubravka's Slovakia.
Well, Georgia are currently winning as well.
Yeah. So if that's the same, we'll actually make it to quarters, because we're not Slovakia. I tell you what, Southgate would have fluked a madness there. Because you know what it is? It comes back to this, because I was getting pelters when I lived down south for giving Southgate shit, because it wasn't long after we got beaten in the final. And we were like, what you saying, man? Daft Geordie, he's been in the final, he's been in semi-finals. And I was like, there's context there, like the route, the way it happened, the squad we've got. And on paper, you'll literally be the most successful England manager ever.
Oh, yeah. You look back at them, and they were the best competitions in our lifetime, at least anyway. The semi-final in 2018, the final in 2020/21. They're the best England tournaments we've experienced. And as adults at least anyway. We're too young for like 96. But I like that's the best that it's been on paper. He will go down as one of England's best managers, but just the performances in between, man. Jesus Christ.
This is it though. Your CV.
Even them group stage games were shite. We just kind of developed as it went on. But you say like the route, like some of the teams that were played on the way there, like we kind of got lucky in 2018, I think. But
when we got to the final of the Euros, we drew 0-0 with Scotland in the group stage games.
Yeah.
Anyone remembers that? Anyone thinks about that anymore. And it's the same with Southgate's CV. It'll look unreal on paper. You'd think you would at least get to a quarter this year if we get Slovakia. Even with Holland. Our team's way better than Holland is at the minute. But I wouldn't trust it because I think Holland would cause us problems. And we didn't have a meaningful shot on target against Slovenia. But it's madness, man, the way Southgate's operating, the look that he could get, and how fluky he could somehow end up in another semi or a final. Because if it's Slovakia, and then I think it's Italy or Switzerland in the quarters, which you probably fluke a Kane penalty and win 1-0 or something. Before you know it, you're in the last four. And you're thinking, bloody hand's coming on. Everyone's getting excited, and you play whoever it'll be, a half-decent team, and then it's bye-bye, and we come home.
Yeah.
But I'll say, Greg, if we play Netherlands on Sunday at 5, I honestly think we'll get beat. I think we'll get beat 2-1, or an extra time maybe. But play Slovakia, then we should obviously beat Slovakia.
Yeah, you'd like to think. Could beat Slovenia. But,
need our good friend Marty D. Dubravka do a favour.
I know. Hopefully it's a Dubravka special. It's a little bit of a shit show. But yeah, I think Netherlands will be a tough contest. Like I don't think they're fantastic, but I think everyone's had a bit of a shit tournament. To be fair, like no one's really stood out. Like I think Netherlands aren't quite as good as at least on paper anyway as some of the better teams. Like France's. Spain, I think Spain won all their games, didn't they? 9 points, but
Spain have been the only ones that look good to me. Like
I don't think
they've conceded a goal. I don't think either of them.
Yeah, I still don't think they've looked great. I like that. I know they won all their games and maybe didn't concede a goal, but I still don't think they looked fantastic. Like they're probably the best of a bad bunch, maybe, because Italy haven't been great, France have been a bit shit, Netherlands have been alright. Like no one's really took this tournament by the scruff of the neck. Like I think the knockout stages, a lot of teams really need to step the fuck up if they want to win.
They do, and that's why it's still open. As bad as England have been, France haven't.
Germany haven't been that great.
Amazing against Scotland, but it's Scotland.
First game they were class. We looked class in my first game, even though it's only 1-0.
Weren't that good. So but that home back in Norway, I think has got them playing some good stuff at times. So at the minute, the current standing of favourites, which is quite mad. It's still Germany off first. Now, obviously, France were favourites heading into it with England, pretty much joined. Now it's Germany, and somehow England are still second favourites to win this tournament.
Fucking hell. Has anyone been watching our games?
I know. See? They're on the Southgate TV when they're thinking, top the group. What's everyone complaining about?
That's man.
Haven't conceded a goal. Top the group. Oh, no, we did concede against Denmark. 1 goal conceded.
5 points now, man. Has anyone else just won the group on 5 points?
Oh, there'll be a couple, because Spain are the only team that's won all 3 games in the groups. So far. I think Portugal would maybe match that, but they're getting beat 1-0 in a minute. Which I'm going to now go and watch, Keg. So,
yeah, cool.
There we go. We are done for this week, people. Thank you for joining us. It's obviously been a bit different having to do it remotely, but thankfully we will be back at the Brewery Anarchy next Tuesday at the usual slot of 7 p.m. Shout out to everyone that's been locked in on the live chat. Happy birthday to Ian Brownlee as well. He's a regular in the chat there, regular viewer. I can see it's his birthday. I think he said today or tomorrow, so have a good one, mate. Enjoy yourself. And Cake, enjoy the rest of your week, mate. I'll see you on Sunday. NX Newcastle, people, for the Euro Fan Zone. We hope this one will be happening at NX Newcastle, the Euro Fan Zone. I'll be on stage with Toon legend Mickey Quinn. I'll also be doing a live show on YouTube tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. with Mickey Quinn, talking all things Newcastle, Isak, and of course, England and Euro 2024. So have a look out for that video at 10 a.m. live tomorrow morning. And then Sunday, tickets are available for just £1, I think, still, for NX Euro Fan Zone. Cheers, Keg. Have a good night, mate.
You too. Enjoy the match. Hopefully it's better than the one we watched last night.
Come on, Georgia. Let's go to Slovakia in the 16.
Come on, Mamadishvili.
Sweet. Nice one, everyone. Subscribe to my channel TV if you haven't already. Big up everyone that's listening on audio platforms, Spotify, Google, Apple, etc. And we'll see you on the next one.